We are back from a great time in Washington, D.C. over the weekend. I was part of a panel at A Night for Freedom in Washington, and it was amazing. I was on with some of the great men of this country, Mike Cernovich, Stefan Molyneux, Milo Yiannopoulos, and Gabe Hoffman. I'm surprised I was able to say everybody's name so right, so clearly, huh?
Yeah.
And it was an honor, a night of freedom. And there were men and women of all ages from around the country. It was so inspiring to meet men and women, and all whites, blacks, Asian-looking people, Jewish people. My friend Colin Flaherty was there. Everybody.
One guy from Peru.
Anybody who was anybody. Oh, yeah, Peru.
Yeah, Peruvians.
Did he come all the way from there? Or?
Well, he went to Peru, then he moved to Argentina, and then he moved here, and he said, we got to stop the direction that we're going, because I don't have any other place to move.
Oh, yeah,
because they all turned socialist.
During the Question-and-Answer period.
Uh-huh.
He came over to me during the dinner.
Yeah.
And he said, I want to let you know you really have helped me. I watch your YouTubes all the time.
Wow.
You've been a major inspiration in my life.
That's cool.
A Peruvian guy.
Uh-huh.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
I was just kind of blown away at the number of people who watch our YouTube things.
Yeah.
And how they've been helped. I never imagined one day Jesse Lee Peterson would be at A Night for Freedom speaking to, some of the smartest, intelligent, good men and women that you ever want to meet. I'm like, where did this come from? One guy came over and said to me, I've been watching your show. I've been watching your YouTube channel. I've been listening to you. You changed my life. And I said, give me an example. He said, you spoke about forgiveness that I needed, not me knowing him, but we needed to forgive our parents first. And I never thought of that. I thought I loved my parents. I never realized that the little anger I had toward my parents is judgment. And that it was holding me back. This is a young white guy, too. He said, but I went and I realized that I needed to do that. And once I realized that, then I was free. I went and did it. My whole world changed. And I said to him, you're right. When you realize that, then it's yours. You got it. Not just because I said it, not just because you read it. You don't get it that way. You wait when you wake up. An awakening happened on the inside. And that's what happened to me. An awakening happened. It's not because somebody said it or I read it. It was because, an awakening happened. I was able to see. The guy at the gate, James is here. James is my producer. He was there over the weekend as well. Remember, James, the guy at the gate, and Jesus went past?
Oh, yeah.
And he touched the guy or something? Or the guy touched Jesus' robe, or Jesus did something. And the guy like, wow, I can see. He was blind or something. You can tell I don't hold on to the scriptures.
There's a few different instances in there that fit that description.
And this man like, I can see. And somebody asked, well, how can you see? He said, I don't know, but that man touched me, or I touched the man, and I was able to see. That's exactly what happened to me. I asked God to allow me to see myself, to see. And he allowed me to see, but he first caused me to forgive, because you cannot enter into sin until you forgive. Nobody's going to get into the kingdom of heaven within until you forgive. So he allowed me to see. And I'm like, wow, I can see. And I could not see before, and didn't know I couldn't see before. It's weird. And so this young man said, I realized it. Once I realized it, everything became clear. And I said to him, that's yours. You're there. Because once you realize, then you're free. It's God revealing. One thing I realized, folks, you got to overcome fear. And that was one of the things that I talked to the people there about. You got to overcome the fear, because when you have fear, you can't function freely. You can't function. And the children of the lie have been very successful in holding back the children of the truth, because the children of the truth have fear. Some of them have fear. And the children of the lie, which are, the activist, radical, liberal media, activist, radical, liberal Democrats, and the right-wing Republicans, they set you up. They set up situations where if you go against it, it makes you look like the bad guy. It really does. And if you should speak up and disagree with it, I'll give you some examples as we move forward this morning. But you got to overcome fear. And the way to overcome fear is you got to overcome anger. Perfect love casts out fear. So when you overcome anger, you have no fear. Really, I didn't know that. I read that in the Bible, but I didn't know it until until God took my anger away. Then He took the fear away. I had no idea that you could live a life without fear. Isn't that amazing? And His perfect love cast the fear out when He cast the spirit of anger away from me. And so you got to overcome the fear. Otherwise, the children of the lie will put you in bondage, and you will never be able to deal with life in the right way. It's mind-blowing. I made the point that when you judge people, when you judge, you block off seeing who they really are. And that tends to go on a lot. It goes on with religion. I was interviewed by a preacher recently, and because I didn't believe the way that he believed, he judged me for it and called me a charlatan or something crazy like that. I have never studied religions at all. I've interviewed different religions on my show to try to understand better what they stand for. But what I've noticed is that if people who are of certain religions don't agree, even in Christianity, for example, if everybody don't agree on the same thing, they break out in groups. And each group judge the other group because this group doesn't agree all the way with me or with each other. It's crazy. You got to drop this anger so you can stop judging, folks. You're never going to agree on everything. And we talked about this at the Night for Freedom. And you're not going to agree on everything. And the children of the lie, they don't agree on everything. But when it comes to attacking good, the family, getting God out of the public square, bringing in homosexuality, whatever it is, they unite together and agree. But the people who are supposed to represent good, because they disagree on certain things, they don't support one another. And as a result, they're losing. It's mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing. I realize that not having anger, which is judgment, which blinds you, not having that, it allows you to see the heart of the person or the people rather than just the physical. And I realize that if you do have anger, you really don't see people for who they really are, because the anger, which is darkness, blocks you off from seeing who they really, really are. And I want to thank Mike Cernovich and the others for having me there. It was an honor to be there, a real honor to be there. It was so good. They had a nice, really nice, fantastic dinner, and then there was a party afterward at the Trump DC Trump.
Yep.
Right.
Trump Hotel in Washington D.C.
Yeah, they had we didn't go to the party though. It was too late. We were too tired. Had to get up too early, so we didn't make the party. But the dinner was great. And to be with Stefan and Cernovich and others, because I've been interviewed by these guys, and I had Marlo on my show. Mike Cernovich has guest hosts for me at times. And it was just amazing. It was an amazing night. Antifa showed up. And Antifa was outside yelling and screaming, all dressed in dark, hiding. You could tell they're evil because they're hiding their faces. if they thought they were doing the right thing, why are they hiding their faces? Isn't that a good question?
Yeah.
Why do they hide their faces?
Sometimes they want to hide their identity so you can't tell who's doing what.
They don't believe
Because
it.
in some cases, some of them are doing wrong. In this case, they didn't really damage any property that I heard.
Right.
Or assault anybody. But in the case that they do something like that, they want to be able to get away with it, and they want it all dressed kind of similarly, so that they can all be.
It's interesting in that, they'll be communists together. Huh?
Yeah.
It's interesting that they accuse the alt-right and others, and the alt-right don't hide. They don't hide their faces. You know who they are. You see who they are.
Right.
When the Antifa people are the one that breaking glass windows and setting cars on fire and causing all of the major damage, and they're hiding away, but yet the liberal media and the liberals and others pretend they are the good guys.
Right. And they call people like us alt-right, and most of the people at this event were not even alt-right. There's Mike Cernovich is not, Stefan Molyneux is not. None of them are actually alt-right people, but they lump them all together.
It's amazing. Mike Cernovich has guest hosts for me before. I've had him on my show. Stefan, I have been interviewed by him at least 3 times, maybe more. I mean, to finally meet him in person was mind-blowing. A good man, good man. I've interviewed Milo before. To meet him in person was good as well. He's a very smart guy. Very smart. You're not going to find, well, you can find greater men. They are amongst some of the greatest men of this country, folks. Men of courage. The young folks, men and women, and older men and women that I met were just inspiring. Inspiring. Loving what's right. Loving the country. It was a night to remember. There's this song called A Night to Remember. So it was a night to remember. It was more than a notion. You know, one other thing that happened along the way, we flew United Airlines from Los Angeles to Ohio, and then from Ohio to D.C. But when we got in Ohio, let me see, I have it here. I got to look at it because I can't remember all this stuff. We flew into Cleveland, Ohio at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, all right? And we did not fly out until almost 1 a.m. Eastern Time in the morning. And so we asked them, why are we here? We were supposed to leave around 9 p.m. Eastern Time, but we did not leave until almost 1 a.m. We were delayed for 4 hours. And you know why? Because the crew wasn't there. The pilot, the flight attendants were not there to fly the plane. Isn't that amazing? That is mind-blowing to me. I'm like, so the tickets were purchased a month or so ago. That means that somebody went online or however they bought the tickets, and they saw this flight available this day at this time. So that means that United Airlines had to put the flight information up, and that means that they had to let the crew know, okay, y'all need to be in Ohio at this time to get these folks over to D.C. at this time. No crew. They had to go over to St. Louis, I believe they said. They sent a plane to St. Louis to pick up the crew, to bring the crew to Ohio, to fly the plane to D.C. at 1 a.m. in the morning. So I get there like 2-something, after 2 o'clock a.m. By the time I got to the hotel, Lord knows what time it was, I had to go right to bed, get up and go not right to the event, but because it was in the afternoon. But about 3 a.m., I guess, by the time I got in bed. And by this time, I'm worn out. I had to sleep through the morning. I am not Donald Trump in that way, for sure. Apparently, Donald Trump, the president, doesn't need much sleep. That's not my case. So have you ever been in that situation where you had to wait, you were delayed for hours on a flight at some location because the crew was not there? Isn't that like mind blowing? So it happened that way going, but coming back, it was perfect. Coming back, it was perfect.